Becoming an emotionally intelligent challenge far, and this is the week 2. So if you are in the Visionary Parent Academy, please the entire February. It's been an amazing challenge for me. So if you're in the academy, please come and share with us how the journey has been so far for you, what you have learned so far, where you were before, and where you have moved to, where you have reached in your destination, or in your journey rather not destination. Come and share your testimony. So last week Wednesday we're here for week 1, and it was quite interesting. Lessons we can easily learn from. I remember last week was a focus on our emotions, being aware of our emotions. So if you missed last week's video, please go back to last week's video to check it out. Being aware of your emotions, because you need to understand how you are feeling and get. Yay, thank you, ma. You can comment. I don't know what happened last week. I'm sorry about that. So last week was talking about our emotions, because our emotions are the foundation of our behaviors, of everything, our choices and everything. You know, when our emotions, when we are triggered, we just go on and on behaving, doing things we did not intend to do. Then our intentions and our actions, they don't have an alignment. You know, you intended to do one thing and you find yourself doing another thing. So that was why last week we focused on being aware of our emotions, knowing exactly how we feel at every given time. There is a trending video of a girl who assaulted a lecturer, and I was wondering, if the girl had mastery of her emotions, do you think it would have escalated to that extent? I don't think so. You know, the moment the lecturer tapped her and told her, "Oh, excuse me," and she knew she felt anger, she probably would have just stepped away immediately. It wouldn't have degenerated to the extent it is right now. Unfortunately, because she doesn't have mastery of her emotions, that was why the matter degenerated. Anyways, being aware of our emotions was for last week, and this week is no longer being aware of our emotions. This week we are looking to we are looking at how to now regulate your emotions. Now you are aware of your emotions, you are aware of how you are feeling. What are you going to do? Right? You are going to make sure you are able to regulate it in such a manner that it is within control. And so our focus today is on empathy. Empathy is what we are focusing today. It is, we do not always realize it. We don't realize how important it is. We don't realize how we are not realistic in our choices or in the things we do as parents. Now, if we learn to be more realistic, that is us showing more empathy, we are going to be more able to use our emotions appropriately. So today is all about empathy. The other day, a visionary friend and I were talking. She reached me. She had a few complaints, and we talked for a long time. And then along the line, she said something. She said she had some complaint about her daughter. She said something that, and funny enough, this was how I was when I was growing up. Oh. And I told her, it makes it easy for you to empathize. Yes, that is it. Empathy is you being able to see things through the lenses, the eyes of your child. Empathy is you being able to put yourself in your child's situation. A lot of time we don't do this. When we do not do this, right, then we don't understand how they feel. We don't do it, we don't empathize, so we don't understand how they feel, so we just assume. When you do not empathize, it's easy for you to trivialize someone's experience. It's easy for you to play down on your child's experience. Now remember, you are not completely emotionally intelligent if you are not able to coach your child. And if you don't have empathy, I tell you, you will not be able to coach your child. You must learn how to emotion coach your child at every given time. It is how you can raise holistic children. And if you do not have empathy, if you are not able to put yourself in your child's position, if you are not able to understand what your child is going through, you will not be able to emotion coach your child. You always see yourself being dismissive of their emotions, and we tend to do it a lot. Sometimes children are crying, we say they are being manipulative. You know, a lot of things happen and we just tag it, we label it. Oh, this child is being manipulative, this child is seeking attention, this child is we label them, we call them a lot of names. The truth of the matter is we have those labeling because we are not able to empathize with our children. Sometimes children want something from you, right? They go on and on crying. You say, oh, they are being manipulative. The truth of the matter is, if you want something that is very important to you, will you give up easily? You will not give up easily. So your child wants something that is very important to them. They are not giving up easily. What are you going to do? You are going to employ the skill or the strategy that worked for you previously, right? Yes. You are going to apply this strategy that worked for you previously. It is what your child is doing, and then we'll call it manipulation, because your child has a strategy that worked for them previously. Now they are applying the strategy, so they are stretching, just trying to stretch, see how they can negotiate, see how they can appeal to you. Then we call it manipulation, because we are not able to empathize with our children. So today we are going to talk about empathy as a strategy for becoming emotionally intelligent. If we learn to put ourselves in the shoes of others, not just our children, we'll learn better to understand where they are coming from. Remember during this presidential election campaign back then, when President Goodluck Jonathan was rerunning for the second tenure, he said, I had no shoes on. You know why he said he had no shoes on? He was just trying to tell us that, see, for the poor people, for the people who are really, should I use the word suffering, for lack of better choice of words, I have been there before. I know exactly how you are feeling. There was a time in my life I didn't have any shoes, so I know exactly how you are feeling. I can relate. So because I know how you are feeling, I can come to your aid. I can do something about it. That is empathy. If you know exactly how your child is feeling, if you understand emotions, and like I said the last time, I always say to parents, see, there are situations that you may not respond to, but you seem to forget that your child doesn't have all the big deals. They don't have all those major situations, They just have all those small ones we don't see as big deals. They are the big deals to them. So if you feel, okay, someone took my toy, I'm not going to be angry. Someone takes your child's toy and they are angry, they are all dramatic, and you feel, why can't you share? Why are you not sharing your toy with that person? You are just being selfish. You force them to share. You are angry over nothing. It's not just a common toy to share. When you just got a car, maybe you just bought a Range Sport or a Range Rover car, fine, shiny. I'm sure for men, for a long time, they will not want their wives to drive the car. Even for women, for a long time, they will not want their husbands to drive the car. Every small stain on the car, you go and clean it up quickly. You make sure the car is well scented, everything is super in order. You will not want to give the car out to someone to drive, right? That is exactly how your child feels when they don't want to share their toys. But for you, it's just an ordinary toy because you have grown past that level. The same way for your child, it's just an ordinary car because they don't understand the value. So this is exactly why empathy. However, if you're able to empathize with your child, if you're able to say, okay, there are times I have things I do not really want to share. So you are better able to connect with your child, understand where he's coming from. Okay, this is one of those situations. He too doesn't want to share. So you understand your child. So at the times you don't want to share, what do? How do you go about it? You now meet your child again. You help your child problem solve. Now that you don't want to share, what are you going to do? You help your child problem solve. But you problem solve. You cannot emotion coach your child. You cannot even be emotionally intelligent if you do not have empathy. Walking in your child's shoes. Like I always tell you that this emotional intelligence challenge is supposed to build you not just for your child, for people around you. That was why last week was being emotionally aware. If you are aware of your emotions all the time, you know what they are communicating. It's easy for you to understand that, okay, your staff at work, your spouse, your friend, your neighbor, they have done something that triggered this particular emotion. This emotion, I don't want you to communicate the negative. So you are in charge. You are in control. Okay, before we go into it, my name is Enimie Orebo, and I'm the lead coach at the Visionary Parents Academy. Someone said, Azie, it's like you are talking about my husband, although he says I should drive it, but I just can't with the way he pets the car like a newborn baby and still cause the car my car. God bless you, ma. You see now, I feel you. I can very much relate. I remember back then to my husband when he had a certain car. It's not supposed to be like a luxury car, but each time you talk about the car as if it's something else. And he was expecting me to drive. I said, this our parking lot is narrow. Let me not go and drive past here now. Come and scratch the car. Then I'll not start explaining. I go explain tire. I get you very well. I can relate. Okay, I was saying that my name is Enimie Orebo. I'm the lead coach at the Visionary Parents Academy. And this 28 days challenge is brought to you by the Visionary Parents Academy. One thing you realize that you cannot parent intentionally. You cannot parent towards your vision without being emotionally intelligent. We have come to that. We have realized that being emotionally intelligent, like I always say, is not always about being angry or not being angry. It's about the different emotions you feel, the different emotions you feel, and how they impact your decision. I've said several times, for example, fear. As a parent, when you have fear in you, that fear can impact your decision in such a manner that you will not allow your child to actually do the things they are supposed to do. You will not allow them pick up age-appropriate responsibilities. You will not allow them take healthy risks they are supposed to be able to take. You will just realize that you will sabotage them because you have your own fear you have not dealt with. Now, this is why in the Visionary Parents Academy, when we deal with emotions, we are not just dealing with anger. We are dealing with all emotions, as envy, bitterness, any emotions at all. We are dealing with it. And today is about empathy. Now, when you are able to empathize with your child, let me refer back to fear. When you understand that, okay, your child, for example, my younger child, one of the fears he has always had is like going inside. Or go inside the room alone, and you see him holding back. For example, we are downstairs, tell him, go and bathe. You say, mommy, I will not climb the staircase. I will not go like this and go and bathe. Someone should follow me, Sometimes it's tempting to say, we are all here. Nothing will happen to you. Is it not Joe? I better go, Joe. Your own is too much. Or you are a scaredy cat. It's tempting to say that. But the truth of the matter is, there are situations that are also fear. When I understand that his is fear is a normal thing. For his age, is a normal thing. Because he's still developing trust. Is the absolute normal situation. When I understand that, it's easy for me to say, okay, how do I handle fear when I'm in the situation and I'm afraid? How do I handle it for myself? Because I know that he needs to learn how to handle fear so that he can go to where he's supposed to go or something. How do I handle fear when I have fear? That is it, empathy. You are able to understand your child, what your child is going through, and you are able to emotion coach your child. You are also able to relate with your child better. You are also able to pause and think through and profile and address your emotions appropriately because you understand what is going on. Okay, I was saying that my name is Enimie Orebo. I'm the lead coach at the Visionary Parents Academy, and this challenge was brought to you by the Vision. This 28 days challenge, is brought to you by the Visionary Parents Academy. The Visionary Parents Academy is an academy where parents come together, where parents actually join and they get empowered, they learn tools, practical tools. It's a vibrant community where we meet every single day of the week and we get tips, we get strategies, we get tools to help us become better parents. I always say we all have vision. I have never seen a parent who doesn't have a vision. You may not have written it down, it doesn't mean you don't have a vision. The fact that you didn't write your vision down, it doesn't mean you don't have a vision. If you don't have a vision, then you will not have to be reactive when your child misbehaves, right? It is because of the vision you have that you are even flogging, you are shouting, you are all over the place when your child misbehaves. Because in your vision, you don't want to raise a criminal, you don't want to raise a lazy child, you don't want to raise a gossip, you don't want to raise a child who is not disciplined. So that is what you have. So you may not have a picture of, okay, this is my family vision or something like that. You may not have that, but in all, you still have a vision, you have a goal. It is why you do the things you do, even the choices you make. make, for example, it is because you have a vision, you have an expectation. That is why you make the choices you make. In the Visionary Parent Academy, what we teach you is to help you walk the path that actually leads to your vision. Because if you look at it, I always say, I've never seen a parent who doesn't want their children to turn out well. I've never seen a parent who wants their children to ever be in jail for maybe domestic violence and all of that. I've never seen a parent who wants the child to be in jail for fraudster and a lot of things. But it happens every day. Why do you think it happens? There is a gap somewhere. And in the Visionary Parent Academy, it is that gap we try to bridge. We try to help parents understand what they need to do, how they need to parent the children they have, so that their vision, they can realize their vision. So we are an annual academy. So we have registration still ongoing. You can still join us for the 2025 cohort. We are going to close soon. We close after the first quarter, and we don't take registration for this year until next year. So what you want to do, if you are still interested in joining us, I promise you that it is very impactful. You are going to learn, you are going to unlearn, and as long as you take action, you are going to get results in your parenting. And you are going to get results in your parenting. I guarantee you that. We also have other amazing things you get to learn. Other very amazing things, very beautiful, other amazing communities, impactful communities. For example, we have Parenting on Your Knees community, where we share one prayer point from the book Parenting on Your Knees every single day. You just don't get the prayer point, you get the breakdown of it. You understand why you even need to say that prayer and how you can go ahead to say that prayer. We also have that. We have a lot of other things we do. If you're in the Visionary Parent Academy, this masterclass is free. You're not paying for it. You're not paying anything for it again. We have our master classes all year round. And if you're in the academy, you don't pay for any of our master classes, of course, except it's a special one. And we have a lot of resources, a lot of materials. We have this, for example, my family constitution. I think I should rebind this thing again, this is becoming embarrassing. We have this, my family constitution, how many pages booklets now? A booklet of almost how many pages that will guide you on how to write your family constitution. Put everybody on the same page, your spouse, your children. We have my parenting vision guide where you can craft your parenting vision. We have my parenting structure. You can craft your parenting structure. We have a whole lot of amazing resources that if you take advantage of, your parenting is going to be so transformed, and they come with your registration. So what you want to do is to send us a message on how you can join. And when we have classes that are not directly by the Visionary Parent Academy, like our teens mentorship, you are going to get a discount as a visionary parent. So hey, you need to join us in the Visionary Parent Academy. I promise you it is going to be super empowering for you. Okay, let's go. We are talking about empathy today. That's the topic for this week. Last week was emotional awareness, being aware of your emotions. And I said your emotions are the foundation of your reactions, your actions, your choices when it comes to parenting. And I've said over and over again, emotions are not just about anger. No, I want everybody to get this. Emotions are not just all about anger. Because when we talk about emotions, we always think about anger, beating my child, yelling at my child, doing all sorts. No, that's not all about anger. There are other emotions that also sabotage your well-meaning, your good intentions in your parenting. I shared about fear a while ago. If you are just joining us, you need to go back to the beginning of this video to see what I said about fear. If you are a parent, you operate on fear, you are going to sabotage your children. It is what it is. If you're a parent, you are very impulsive. When I mean impulsive, is like you don't understand the emotions that you are feeling. You just react based on how you are feeling. You are going to be very inconsistent in your parenting. And when you are inconsistent, your children will not learn to trust you. So at every given emotion, at every given time, you need to understand how you are feeling. Sometimes parents make promises because they are pressured. Because you are pressured, you make promises. So you need to understand how you are feeling at every given time. For example, I am anxious right now. I am nervous right now. It simply means that you are not in the right frame of mind to make a reasonable decision. So if your child comes to you and say, "Oh, mom, can I do X, Y, Z?" You are going to tell them to go and come back, because you are not in the right frame of mind to decide. Because if you tell them, okay, go ahead and have it, tomorrow you may be in a calmer place, a place you're able to reason, and you're not telling them go and have it. One of the reasons parents clash with their children, you are not consistent. So when you don't have mastery of your emotions, you will not be consistent. So it is super important, non-negotiable, for you to understand how you feel at every given time. So today is a focus on how to respond. After understanding how you feel, how do you respond? And I said the first thing you want to know is empathy. Empathy is the very first thing you need to understand. You need to constantly understand what your child is going through. Very many times, not even just your child, people around you. Very many times we do not understand what people are going through, so we just assume. Most of the time we assume because we are not pausing to see the emotions behind people's behaviors. I tell you, if we learn to pause and see the emotions behind people's behaviors, if we learn to pause and ask people, how are you feeling right now? And they say, oh, I feel so sad. Or someone tells you, oh, I feel so stupid. Or someone tells you, oh, I regret what I did. Also, you'll be able to understand, okay, when you feel sad, what are the things you are likely going to do? You are even a transformed person. You have built yourself to the extent that, okay, when you feel sad, you are no longer responding based on your sadness. But before you got delivered, let me use that word, before you became transformed, how did you respond to your emotions, to your sad emotions? How do people typically respond to sadness? So the person you are dealing with, your child, is likely going to respond to sadness the way people typically respond to sadness. The average person who is not emotionally intelligent, the way they typically respond to sadness, your child is likely going to respond to sadness like that. So now when you understand, okay, my child did this because my child was sad, it's a communication that your child doesn't understand how to handle sadness. So what are you going to do? It becomes a goal for you. It is what I say to parents in the Visionary Parents Academy, that I have almost reached this stage in my parenting, and that is where I want to reach. I am not saying I have reached that stage, because a few times I'm still missing it. But very many times, almost all the time, I get it. I've reached that stage in my parenting where every single behavior is a win for me. If your child does something super nice, like yesterday, my 8-year-old came to tell me that, okay, mommy, he wants to buy drinks for his classmates for Valentine. I asked him, okay, how many are your classmates? He said 18. I said, okay, that's 18 times. You want to buy drinks? Send more drink. I said, okay, the last time I bought more drinks was 11,000 naira. That was last week. Okay, that's 11,000 naira. That's 18. That's 24. Okay, let's see how we can come and work that out. And the next thing he came back to me and said, mommy, we have 2 arms. The second arm, I'm not sure. I think they are between 15 or so. I also want to give them drinks. I say, this boy, are you all right? From yesterday till today, I should just cough out 22,000 naira. Maka gini now, maka why, But I was happy. I had to tell him that, you know what, just talk to your daddy about it. Tell your daddy that you want to buy drinks as Valentine gifts for your classmates. The mommy says she cannot afford it. That he has some money with him. He has his own personal money. Tell daddy that you have some money, but the money is not enough. Oh, this thing. See me, my sister. See me. I say, tell daddy that you have some money with you that is not enough. Because actually, that was what he wanted to do. He said, mommy, he has some money. That how much did I buy more drink? I told him 11,000. He said, his money is never near 11,000. Can I complete it for him? So I said, tell your daddy so that your daddy we buy it for you. And that was it. I was super happy. It was a big win for me. It was a big win for me because I've always taught my children to be very thoughtful. I tell them, learn to be thoughtful. I tell them, always think of how to help, how to come in, how to put a smile on people's face. That is what you were created to do, to make the world a better place and not to cause problems for people. When you steal from someone, when you lie against someone, when you gossip about someone, you are creating a problem for people, and you were not created to be a problem bringer. You were created to be a problem solver. So when he came up on his own, all by himself, I felt so proud. So proud. I was telling myself, I just have to. If his daddy says no, I will just have to do something about it, just to encourage him. That is a big win for me. already. Now, if tomorrow he's supposed to do something else, he doesn't do it properly, or he doesn't do it well, it's still a win for me, because then I will now know that, okay, my child is still struggling with this particular thing. Maybe he doesn't have the skills yet. It's a win for me because it has opened my eyes to know where I should focus on, the goal I should focus on. So it is why I say to parents, your child behavior at every given time should be a win for you. Unfortunately, if we are not in control of our emotions, we are not able to see it's a win. It's a win. We are not able to trace patterns, because sometimes children can just do things one-off, carelessly. Sometimes they can just copy someone or something on TV and just do it one-off. We do it all the time. Everyone, even adults, you see yourself doing something that is originally not part of you. But when you're emotionally intelligent, you are able to trace patterns. When you trace patterns, you trace the emotions behind it. You understand, okay, my child may not be emotionally skilled yet to handle this situation. What do I do? So it becomes a goal for you as a parent. I need to upskill my child in this area. And before you can even begin to talk about that, you need to understand the emotions, because emotions are the foundation, the bottom of every of our behaviors. We need to understand that. Back to our topic is empathy, the ability for you to understand where your child is. One thing I say to parents over and over again is, your child is a human being. I put on Facebook one time that correcting your child is not an emergency. Discipline is not an emergency. When I say correcting your child, is because we see flogging and all of that, all those dramatic way of correction as emergency. So I was saying it is not an emergency, and someone was arguing with me. We're going back and forth. He said something that, okay, if the child insult someone or something like that, how is it not an emergency? He will go there and smack the child and do something. I told him that, let's look at it as an adult. You've grown. Why would you just see someone ordinarily and insult the person? Let's look at it. Will you just insult someone? You just see someone, you insult someone. You will not just insult someone. So even if your child sees someone and insults the person, it's not for you to go and beat your child. It simply means that there is a skill your child is lacking. And that beating your child is not solving it. It's not solving it. It is why in the Boss of Me magazine, by the way, we have a magazine, the Boss of Me magazine, for children to build self-leadership. It is why in the Boss of Me magazine, there's a column that is called Understanding Our Differences, where we take different issues. We've talked about autism. We've talked about stammering. I think in February edition, we talked about dwarfism. And that was actually inspired by, I don't know if you know this, Ukubi and the wife. People keep dragging them on Facebook, keep making hurtful statements. That was what inspired that. We've talked about dwarfism. We've talked about autism. We've talked about dyslexia. I think we've had about 6-7 editions so far. So every edition will take a particular topic, and we'll talk about it. The idea is for children to learn how to understand other people. So one of the things I always emphasize in that column is that these people, if you give them a choice, they will not want to be. So they feel bad enough. We talked about stammering. They feel bad enough. We've talked about albinism, from albinism. They feel bad enough. So what you can do for them is to support them. Imagine you are in their shoes, because you did not create yourself. You don't even know how you were formed. You just saw yourself in this world and you are growing. You didn't create yourself. The same way those people they don't create themselves, they saw themselves in this world. The same way. So imagine someone now coming to mock you, shame you because of something that you have no control over. How would you feel? Empathy. The idea is to build empathy in these children. The idea is to help them understand the differences about human beings, about life, and help them build empathy. That is it. So as a parent, now I'm talking about parent now, whether you are dealing, it is what I don't ever understand. You see parents, adults, you are gossiping. Sorry. You go and gossip. Would you like it if someone goes to a place and start gossiping you with their friends? You will not like it. So why are you doing it? Now, even if it gives you pleasure, it is where we live selflessly, selfless service. Even if it gives you pleasure, you being selfless is not about you. It is not about you. Even if it gives you pleasure, because you are a selfless human being, you will not invest in that, because it is not always about you. I think I'm I'm deviating for too long. So that is empathy. So every single time your child does something as a parent, one of the very first things you want to do is to put yourself in your child's shoes and ask questions like, okay, if I was my child, what would make me do a thing like this? What would make me do a thing like this? Okay, if I was my child and I saw somebody passing and I told the person, I just maybe describe the person big head, or I insult the person. The only reason I would do something like that is maybe it felt funny to do it, or I don't know better. I would do, or maybe someone is there pressuring me to do it. Empathy, you will understand. Guess what? When you are able to empathize with your child, I tell you, you will be able to reach the heart of your child. Because if you cannot reach the heart of your child, your values will not stick. Your values will not stay. Every given time you are able to reach the heart of your child. Now imagine that you see your child insulting someone or mocking someone or shaming someone, and you ask your child, okay, Noel, you were speech shaming that boy because he was stuttering. Why were you doing that? And he will say, oh, mommy, the way the boy talks is funny. He talks in a very funny way. So when he was talking, it was so funny. You can now realize that, okay, as you as an adult, when situations are funny, what do? You laugh. And sometimes, many times, when situations are funny, it is not easy for you not to laugh. Even when you don't want to laugh, you see yourself laughing uncontrollably. Sometimes I'm just maybe I'm working late and I want to take a break. I see myself on Facebook watching some videos and reading some comments. And I know, oh, my kids are sleeping though. I don't ever want to give them the impression that I'm watching skits late. Sometimes I don't want to laugh. I will just see myself. I will just see myself laugh. There's one comment that makes me laugh so much all the time. After the academy, yes, please. Yes, send a message after the class if you want to join us for 2025 before we close. There's one comment that make me laugh all the time. A comment they will say, now this brain you take crossroad, you know. Anytime I see that comment, I'm always laughing. Was it this brain you crossed the road with this morning? Did you cross the road to work with this brain? I'm not to not jam you. It's so funny. It's just a way of telling the person that you are so dumb, you are not thinking. You know, each time I see that comment, I'm always laughing. You know, now imagine something like that. So you can understand where your child is coming from. Now, if you are the one, right, that's okay, you are laughing at someone because of how they look, and your parent or someone superior catches you, how would you want the person to respond to you? That is the second part of empathy. Your empathy is not just about responding and understanding your child or seeing things through the eyes of your child. It also determines how you respond. Now, because you are able to understand your child, why your child did something, then you are now able, because you are able to put yourself in the shoes of your child, you are going to ask yourself, if I was the one, how would I have wanted to be responded to? I shared something some time ago that as a parent, as a mom, you get into the kitchen, you find that a glass plate is broken and you are just angry. You call your child, maybe you pick up the cane. You have broken all the plates in this house. You want to flog your child, and then your husband comes in and says, oh honey, I was the one that broke the plate. Why will you not flog your husband? You were going to flog your child. Now your husband has said, oh honey, I'm sorry, I was the one that broke the plate. I was actually going to do like this. Why will you not flog your husband? After all, flogging was the punishment for it, right? So, so as an adult, for example, you want to ask yourself, okay, if I break a plate, what could have been the reason why I will break a plate, or why I broke a plate? And how would I have loved to be responded to in this situation? That is you empathy. That is empathy. And after talking to yourself, you are going back to respond the way you would have loved to be responded to. Now, this is why in the Visionary Parent Academy, one of our go-to phrases, it is not an emergency. We say the 3 P's. We say pause, we say process, we say proceed to respond. You must learn to pause. If you don't learn to pause, you are not going to be able to think through what you are doing, think through everything or anything. Now, why are you not flogging your husband? If you're not flogging your husband or your wife for an offense that you will likely flog your child for, then it means you are being biased. It means the offense is not why you are flogging your child. The offense is not why you are. When I was my child's age, I did XYZ. And I really wished. Now, let me even tell you one of the things we can do to make us be more empathetic as human beings. One of the things we can do is, as parents, rather, not human beings, you want to make a list of all the ways you can remember your parents responded to you. Make a list of them. How did your parent respond to you when you behaved or when you misbehaved? What were the misbehaviors what were the ways you behaved as a child that your parents did not like? What were those misbehaviors? Misbehaviors as a child your parents did not like. Your parents did not like. How did they respond to those behaviors? Now, as a child then, how did you wish they responded to those behaviors? That is you. Because there's something I've always said. Your child is likely going to behave the way you behaved as a child. Now, here's the reason. One, because they are children. Age plays a factor. Secondly, because you are the one raising them. Because you are raising them. So, the way you were raised has a role to play in how you are raising your children. So you are raising them to the temperament, genetic. If there's a tendency that if you're a very hyper parent, your children, like the parent I was talking about, I hope she watches this video. She was talking about the child and she said, funny enough, I was like this when I was growing up. Oh, and she said, and my mother will beat me. So now she has a child who is like that. It's temperament issues. Maybe she is the kind with that kind of, her temperament is what reflects in all of that. So your child is likely going to behave the way you behaved as a child. And guess what? You are likely going to respond to your child the way your parents responded to you. Did you get that? I need to come back and watch this video. Your child is likely going to behave the way you behaved as a child. And you are likely going to respond to your child the way your parent responded to you. You know why? Because your parents raised you and you learned from them. If you don't unlearn those responses that were sabotaging, that were not healthy, if you don't unlearn them, there's every likelihood that you are going to respond the way your parents responded. Another thing is your temperament. If you took one of the parents' temperament, you are also going to, if your parent, for example, was intolerant to certain things, you are going to be likely intolerant to the same things. And then programming, all of them come to play. So what you want to do, the task I want to give you here is now, make a list of all the things, all the ways your parents responded. Not just your parents responding to you, people around you, because sometimes our parents may not have been these impulsive types, but we see things because our parents are not the only one that sow seeds in us. Or rather, you are not the only one sowing seed in your children. Bear that in mind. I know they say children get their identities from their parents, but the truth of the matter is you may not be the only one planting or sowing seeds in the heart or life of your children. The environment generally, what you see people do, they go a long way. So what you want to do now is to make a list. The typical things children did back then, and how adults around them responded. Make a list of all of that. Maybe your siblings, my wristwatch is dragging my cloth. Maybe your siblings or anything, just make a list of them. And as a child, how you wish you were responded to back then. How you wish your parents would call you and hear your side of the story. How you wish they would listen to you. How you wish they will start banging your door when they want to wake you up in the morning as if it's war front. How you wish they would do, just write it down. So next time your child behaves like that, then you actually want to take your mind back. When I was younger, I did XYZ, and my parents didn't hear my side of the story. Someone reported to my dad that I was insulting them. My dad didn't hear my side of the story. The next thing, he took a cane and was just flogging me all over the place, you know. Then I wish my dad had actually called me and listened to me. Then my dad would have known if I was wrong or not. I wish my dad would have advised me, told me how to handle such situations. So it is what you are going to start, how you are going to start responding to your child from now. So create it by yourself, create a template, create that list. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you, ma. Teachers, including teachers, yes, in those days. In those days, that is why just a few teachers will celebrate online. A few teachers, you have people celebrating. I take my mind back. I don't even remember any teacher that made an impact in my life. And because they were, all of them that time, Cane, they were so strict, you know. There was no one that was really like encouraging. No one that was, that seemed to have been passionate about what they were doing then, to actually wanting to mold lives and all of that. I honestly hope teachers of these days know that there's something called posterity, and they deliberately invest in molding lives beyond just the hustles of the struggle and hustle of making a living. Okay, create that list. And when next your child does something that you remember you did as a child, or someone around you did as a child, respond to your child the way you wished you were responded to. That is you empathy. That is empathy. Empathy. Responding to your child the way you wish to be responded to if you are in that shoe. I said to a parent that, for example, if you have a boss in your office, you won't like them to, because when I say something like, you don't have to correct your child publicly, I get arguments a lot, counter arguments. I mean, why would you just come out and be correcting your child openly when you can go into the corner and correct your child? People argue a lot, and I've asked them this question several times. Now you have a boss, you have someone in your office, a superior person, and you have done something not too nice. Would you want the person to just come in front of all the staff and be correcting you and be yelling at you? You will not like that. You will feel very embarrassed. And I tell you, every single emotion you feel, your child feels it. Your child feels it. So if you feel embarrassed when your spouse, your boss, or people correct you in public, then you don't. I remember when we traveled to Benin for Christmas, and I've always said to my family, I don't know why, I grew up with my grandma in the village, you know. I didn't leave I was with my grandma till, because my grandma has always said I was giving to her when I was 3 months. And my mom will always say, ask her if I was 3 months, was I not breastfed, you know? So because of that, I was always confused. So, but I knew that there was 3. 3 was recurring. So I knew maybe 3 years or so. However, I met my uncle when we traveled. My uncle came around too, and he said I was giving to my grandma when I was 2 months and a few weeks. It makes sense. I was not up to 3 months. So 3 is actually a factor in it. So I grew up with my grandma from that 3 months till I was about 11 or so in JSS1. If you've read my book, Understanding Your Child, you'll see a bit of my story there. So I always wonder, me that grew up with my grandma in the village, I don't have this native sense. You know, there are some things you expect to know ordinarily that I don't know. I have a sister who didn't grow up with my grandma. She has a lot of native sense. She's able to do. I'm just like, I wish someone discovered her when she was much younger. Probably she would have been able to be amazing in a particular career, you know. I wonder why I'm not able to. There are things I just don't. Let me give you a practical example. I remember when my sister lost her mother-in-law. Everybody was wearing black. I think I was wearing a light green shirt. For the love of Christ, why was I wearing a light green shirt to a funeral? Does it even make sense? Like, seriously. Am I not supposed to know on my own that it's a funeral and I should wear black? I got everybody was wearing black. I was like, should I not go and start looking for black to buy or something? That's our bone. So my dad asked me, so when we went to be, my dad asked me to bring cola nuts. I didn't know. I was not thinking. So when I washed the cola nuts, I broke it. My idea was to wash the inside, all the dirt inside away. So when I got there, my daddy was not like, why did you break the kola nut? I was not like, shebi I wanted to wash all the dirt away from inside. My mom now said something that, as in, she wanted to say something like, I am not like, I don't have this native sense. She now used a derogatory word. So I was not telling her, I don't get it. Why will you call me that? So she was not trying to explain, no, that wasn't what she meant. She wanted to say, as in, she expected me to know. I didn't know. That was what she meant. So, not that I was offended, but I was just wondering, why was that your choice of word? And she was saying, because she couldn't think of any word there. And then she didn't know that, okay, because she couldn't think of any word, there was no point to say anything. So she now said it and she was laughing and everybody was laughing. You know, they were laughing and I was wondering, why describe me? I don't remember what she actually said. I don't remember. It's not important anyways. So that is it. Now, if I wasn't going to like something like that, why would I now talk to my child like that? My child too will not like it. My child will be hurt too. And guess what? It doesn't build connection between you and your child. At the end of the day, you want your child to be better behaved. So if you're not emotionally intelligent, you cannot raise better behaved children. You are just going to raise broken children. If you don't have empathy, you are just going to raise broken children. So because I don't like a thing like that, I will never say it to my child. Now imagine if I now say that thing to my child. My child is angry. My child is resentful. That anger and resentment will now influence their subsequent behavior. It becomes a circle. So here's the thing. As a parent, one of the things you need to work on is empathy. You need to understand how to empathize with your child all of the time. And you cannot empathize with your child if you are very spontaneous. If you are random, if something happens now, you want to respond now. It is not an emergency. You always need to pause and breathe and ask yourself, what is my child feeling? Because your child's feeling is why your child is doing what they are doing. How is my child feeling? What is the goal of his behavior? Sometimes the goal is to get something from you. The goal is to get your attention. The goal is because they trust you. There is, not too long ago, there was something I witnessed. A parent, I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what what the child wanted her to do. The parents said no, she couldn't do it. The child was crying and crying and crying. And then the parents went ahead I'm just trying to remember the whole thing. The parents went ahead to heal the child. Stop crying. I cannot do it. The child is about 3. And I had to tell her that, do you know why your child is crying? Your child is crying because of trust. Because you are the mom. You are the superwoman. Your child believes you cannot do, there's nothing you cannot do. She believes there is nothing you cannot do. Any problem I have, I'm meeting my mom. I am hungry, mommy will solve it for me. They give me homework in school, mommy can help me out. I want to wear my shoes, mommy can help me out. I want to wear my clothes, mommy can help me out. I want to every single thing, and that is how you are proving yourself. And that is how it is. When your child is fully dependent on you and you are there. So your child trusts you. So now that you are telling your child you cannot do this, it doesn't make sense to her that you cannot do it. So your child is not responding because she wants to frustrate you, because that is how you see this. That is where knowledge comes in. And again, it's where you need to get the Visionary Parents Academy. Your child is not responding because she wants to frustrate you. She's responding because she trusts you. She believes in you. And she doesn't understand why you do not want to meet her needs, because she believes you can. So even when you tell her, I cannot, she doesn't believe. She will not believe you until such a time she is able to reason. Such a time she realizes that, okay, mommy is not just such a superpower, she also has things she can do and things she cannot do. Your child will keep doing that same thing because they trust you. So if you understand where your child is coming from, you are better able to respond to them. If this parent understood that, okay, my child is doing this because of the phase, my child is in the trust phase, this trust stage of his life. So they trust me up in her life. She trusts me absolutely. She believes there's nothing I cannot do. You understand that from the eyes of your child. When you trust someone, what happens? When they do something, you feel super disappointed. You feel disappointed. Even sometimes you don't get over that disappointment for a very long time. I've heard people say things like, if it was someone else that did this to me, I wouldn't be feeling this bad. I won't feel as bad as I'm feeling. It hurts me so much because this person is the person that did this to me. Why? Because you trust that person. The same thing with your child. So I was trying to explain to the parents. I don't know if she got the message or not, but I did my thing, explaining to her. So if you're able to understand, see things through the eyes of your child, it's easier for you to be able to appropriate your emotions. You will not see it as your child is trying to frustrate me. No. You see it as, okay, my child is doing this thing because she trusts me. And I know that this trust is still going to be there until another 1 year. She's still going to trust me for another 3, 5, 6, 7 months. So what do? And there is no point in me even telling her, no, I cannot do it. She will begin to understand. So she's crying. Let her cry. Make all the effort to do it. Sometimes children will even hold your hand. Mommy, do this, do this. Let her hold your hand. Do everything. You cannot do it, and you begin to now coach them. I'm not doing this because I cannot do it. You know what? We are going to get help. Maybe when we get home, we are going to have uncle, daddy, auntie help us with this thing. Okay? You now find a way to emotion coach your child and connect with your child. Now, because very many parents do not have empathy, everything the child does is to make us angry. I've heard parents even say, did they send you to me? This child, did they send you to me? That is it. Everything they say is to make you angry. Everything they do rather makes you angry when you don't have empathy. Empathy is key. You cannot take empathy away from being emotionally intelligent. You cannot be emotionally intelligent without having empathy. You must constantly learn to be able to walk in other people's shoes. Put yourself in the shoes of other people. Is it not why you see like all these Nigeria politicians? Because they are sick, there's abroad there for them to fly to. So they really do not understand the state of the facilities there are in Nigeria. They do not understand the states because they don't use them. They have not been there. Even when people talk about them, they cannot relate. Sometimes they feel, oh, they're exaggerated. People are exaggerating. They cannot relate. So if you're not able to empathize with your child or anyone at that, or even your spouse, then you will not be able, your emotional intelligence journey will not be complete. You will not be able to be emotionally intelligent. So you must learn to empathize with people around you. And it simply means take a break and walk in their shoes. Put yourself in that person's shoes. If someone uses my thing without my permission, if someone uses my favorite item without my permission, how would I feel? I'll feel really upset. And if I'm not in control, what can I do? I can say hurtful things to the person. So your child is valid. He may not be right by saying hurtful things, but the emotions are valid. And what does that tell you? My child doesn't understand yet how to respond to this thing. So what do I do? Is a win for me. So I'm going to now sit down and begin to teach my child, okay, someone uses your thing without your permission and it gets you upset. I get it. You are upset. It's valid. If it's me, I'll also be upset. But what are you going to do? Are you going to start saying hurtful things to the person? Two wrongs don't make it right. Right? Two wrongs don't make it right. Apart from that, when you say hurtful things to them, what if that person buys that thing and replaces it? Will you be able to take back the hurtful thing you have said? You've not been able to take back the hurtful things. Now, love is an act. It's an action. You must put in an effort. Now, there's a bank called Love Bank. So the more you say hurtful things to people, the more you are withdrawing from that love bank. The more you understand, you empathize, you are patient with them, you are making deposits into that love bank. Remember, these are your siblings. You will need them in life. You definitely need them to be together. They are your best cheerleaders. They are your best friends, and they'll be your best friends forever. Do you know that? Yes, I know you are upset. So what you are going to do, you are going to take it as a lesson. Maybe you just learn to lock your door. Maybe you give a strict warning. Maybe you put those particular things in a certain compartment that is lockable, you lock it. Maybe you learn to firmly say to them, I don't like this, and don't do it again. You now help them walk them through. But you can't do that if you don't empathize. Is it not because the small thing they use, you are all over the place talking? Because you are not even happy you have brothers that are touching your things. You are not even happy. Does it do any good? It doesn't do any good. Therefore, some children who internalize, who take things, who are overthinkers, and take things too hard, they begin to think of it. The other time my brothers used my thing, my mom was saying that Shebi, I was the one that kept it carelessly. Every time my brothers use my things, every time my brothers do this, my mom will always react like this. She always react like this. She's always blaming me. It means she cares about my brother more than me. She never cautions them. She never talks to them. It's only me. She loves them more than me. Let me kukuma be doing my own now. And that was not your intention. So as a parent, you must learn to empathize with your child. You must learn to empathize with your child. It simply means see things from their angle. And I shared with you, what you want to do is go back to how you behaved as a child, the way those behaviors were responded to by your parents, by the adults around you. If you didn't like them, let me share one. Growing up, I had an elder sister. I have 3 elder sisters. I'm the 4th child and the 4th daughter. I have 3 elder sisters. Yesterday, I just got a very funny idea. I said, what I want to do to all of them, I want to remind them of what they did when they were more younger. So I want to do it to them. I hope I don't forget. I just remember them because I didn't jot it down because I thought about it when I was sleeping. So I remember my elder sister back then. She would say, bring that thing for me. You ask her, which thing? And the next thing she will tell you, your head. You'll be wondering, you asked me to bring something from there, and that place you are sending me to, there are 10 things there. Is it wrong for me to ask you which thing? How am I supposed to know automatically the thing you want me to bring if you do not tell me? Sis, be calming down. Really? And I'm asking and you're telling me your head. That was it. So now, as a parent, you remember that. Then when you ask your child, because my sister back then, she may have felt we're dumb. Maybe, okay, let me give you an example. Maybe she'll be eating, she'll have Gary and maybe Gary and sugar. Then she'll say, bring that thing. That thing could be water. That thing could be extra plate to sieve the Gary into. That thing could be spoon. That thing could be peanuts or anything that she wants to go with it. Then when you not tell her what is it, I know she will expect you to be able to use your initiative. Use your initiative to figure out what she wanted. But very many times, it was not that easy. It was complicated because she will have a lot of things doing at the same time. She will not send you a message. How do you not figure it out when you are not a witch? So that kind of a thing. What would you, if you were in my shoes, how would you have desired she responded to you back then? Simply to calmly tell you, oh, give me a spoon for my Gary, or give me water, or so when you now get that right, when you want to respond to your child that way, not you being sarcastic. Put it on my head. No, not you being sarcastic. You respond to your child the way you wished you were responded to when you were much younger. So I'm sure you all get the message already that empathy, see things through the eyes of your child, is our topic for today. And I do hope that you took notes down and you are going to take action. I gave you a small task. You can also come and drop the small task here if you're not in the Visionary Parent Academy, or you can drop it in the Visionary Parent Academy if you are there with us. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Enimi Orebo. I'm the lead coach at the Visionary Parent Academy, an academy where you get empowered, you get skilled up to parent with a vision. You are going to have a vision, and we start by one of the materials we give you when you register with us is your vision, your parenting vision guide, where you sit down. This is me and my child now. I thought I was helping him use his initiative or be more observant. I will change now if he doesn't find it funny. He doesn't find it funny most times. Yes, they don't find it most times. It's not what you can do. What I tell my children, what I do with my children most of the time, especially for parents, if you have something like, let me use the word, a scattered brain. No, I don't want to use the word, a scattered brain, really. It's one word that always comes to mind when I'm talking about children who don't pay attention to details. What I always tell my children is, what am I doing right now? What am I doing? I tell them, connect to purpose. Connect to purpose. I am doing something. I try to not make it as complicated as my sister used to make it. I tell them, connect to purpose. So I say, what am I doing right now? You say, okay, I'm doing X, Y, Z. So I ask you to go and give me something. What is that thing you are supposed to give me? And they will say, okay, this, because you need this for this. That is critical thinking. So I teach them to connect to purpose. It is super important. So you can be doing that with your child. You tell him to give you something, and he doesn't know exactly what to give him. That's where you need to pause. Remember, it is not pressure. I know that time you just be angry. Can't you see? Don't you have initiative? Can't you use your initiative? Anger. Sometimes you not just ignore. Sometimes you say your head. Sometimes you not just ignore and just say something, because that anger, even though it's not the eruptive anger or the disruptive anger, it's still anger in a way that still sabotages. So it teaches your child that, oh, you are not using in your initiative. Maybe you don't even have that initiative. You don't even have sense to use in the first place. So I just teach them to connect to purpose. They say, okay, what am I doing right now? They will say, okay, you are writing. You have a book, you are reading. And so when I'm reading, what do I typically do? You have your idea book and your pen. So when I say help me with my stuff, what am I talking about? She'll say, okay, maybe your idea book and your pen. Fantastic. And my daughter will say, oh, sometimes you know that you wear your ear pod because of the noise. I said, okay, that is another possibility. So you help them connect to purpose. That is how to teach them to take initiative all of the time. If they ask you, you throw it back. What am I doing? Help them connect to purpose. That is better than you being sarcastic. Always teach them. I tell my children, open your eyes. Be attentive to details all of the time. Watch out for patterns. Patterns will help you. Watch out for patterns. Be attentive to details. Connect with purpose. This will help you a long way. They will serve you in the long run. So it is what you want to teach. Okay, someone said, I will change to, I always do that, especially while doing their homework. Okay. While doing their homework, maybe you want to color and you ask them, you say, what am I bringing? You just ask them to connect to purpose. What am I doing now? This. So that is what you should bring. You don't even need to answer it for them. By the time you're asking them, what am I doing now? They will say, you are doing this. Okay, so what do I need to do it? They will tell you something. You say, why do I need that thing? How do I need it? Why do I need it? They will not say, oh, okay, I don't think so. I think it's this one. It is where you always need to be calm. We just all need to learn to always be calm, be in a good place all of the time. Because the truth of the matter is, if you are not calm, if you are not in a good place, you always realize that if you are constantly being pressured, you always realize that you don't even have the patience to be calm, to walk your child through things, to walk your children through things. You will not have the patience. You will always be snappy, be nagging, be reactive up and down. No, we just always learn to just see as much as possible how we can be calm. It is why when parents tell me, I can never help my child with homework. I had to get an extra lesson teacher for my child because I can never help my child with homework. I tell them that, see, dear parent, you need to work on yourself. You need to be calm. If you cannot help your child with homework, it simply means that there is something fundamentally not right with you. You need to go and work on yourself. That is why. Homework is an amazing time, especially for very busy parents. You are a very busy parent. You go to work in the morning, you come back late, and homework time is about the only time you have to connect with your child. And you are telling me that you cannot help your child with homework. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? A very busy parent, you don't even have time to spend with your child. And then you are not coming to say, the only time you have with your child is homework. Maybe bedtime, maybe brush. Then your child he hits the bed, your child is sleeping again, and then you come and tell me you cannot do homework with your child. When will you not have, when will you not have the time to connect with your child? When will you not have the time to build relationship with your child? When will you not have the child the time to model patience, perseverance, tolerance? When will you have the time to do all of that with your child? Every parent, we need to be emotionally intelligent. We need it. We need to be emotionally intelligent. We need to know when our emotions are getting in the way and just say, no, emotions, darling, you are not in charge of me. I am in charge of you. We just need to learn to do better so that we cannot be present, yet we are absent. We are not, yes, teach them to be observant. Thank you, ma. We cannot be present. We say, oh, we are present. I am always there. You know, there are some parents that are present, but they are not available. Emotionally available, mentally available. They are not just available. You are present, so you are at home 24 hours of the day, but you are not available. Your child, you are not connecting. So there are many stay-at-home moms that they are not available. One of the reasons is they don't even know how to be available. Another reason is they are so engrossed in their phone. Another reason is they are so pressured by the thought of, oh, my husband is cheating, my husband is cheating. That bothers them from morning till night. So they are always on the edge, snappy. We just need to learn to be calm and be available for our children. So this was brought to you by the Visionary Parents Academy. And if you want to join us, feel free to leave a message and join us so that our challenge we go on there and you learn, unlearn, and relearn. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. See you next Wednesday. And hopefully, before next Wednesday, we'll start dropping our normal weekly videos. We are hoping that every week we drop like 2 videos, then our live video making it 3. I just hope we can achieve that task. We can start. You can start that before the month ends. And remember, we have parenting on your knees. Parenting on your knees is a prayer manual, just 3,000 naira. It's a prayer manual that guides you. You know, that guides you one prayer for your child every day for an entire year. It's even more than, I think we have over 366 prayer points in that manual. Today, for example, we pray for the fruit of the Spirit for our children. Now, let me tell you something about the parenting on your knees. It has journaling, it has reflection, it has affirmation for your child, it has prayer for you as a parent, it has prayer for your child, it has Bible reference. So like today, for example, I was teaching my children from it, because what you do is, while you take the prayer point and pray for your children, you also talk to them about that particular prayer. Yesterday was, we talked about, the other day about challenges through life, helping our children to build faith in the face of challenges. And I had to take opportunity to teach my children about how challenges make you. Say challenges, they are the how do I put it? They are the path to wherever you are going to. They teach you lessons. If things come easy, you may not learn. And God has instructed man to go and till the soil. That means work hard. So working hard is you learning how to navigate challenges however they come. They are going to come. So when challenges come, what are you going to do with them? They are not going to break you. They are going to be part of your lessons, stepping stones. You are learning how not. I say, what was the man's name? Thomas Edison said he learned over 1,000 ways of not making the light bulb. That is it. You know, they are going to be your lessons for life that you're also going to use to impact, because there's a phase in life that is called the mentorship phase. In that mentorship phase, Coach Maxine, boss of me, is not sure I got it correctly. Is it only for teens? For preteens and teens, you can use it to begin to teach your children. If your children are still young, you can begin to use it to teach them. Like the February edition was all about Valentine, about love, about self-love. We had amazing stories. The March edition, we are trying to create something. We are trying to be more structured. So the March edition, we have a few more columns. We are trying to remove some columns and bring in some more columns that we can continue, that will be very impactful. You know, we are growing and we want to make it super impactful. So that is about it. Like today, our prayer point was praying for the fruit of the Spirit. I had to ask my children, what is the fruit of the Spirit? They've taught them in school and in church, love, joy, perseverance, and all of that. Fantastic. Why is it the fruit of the Spirit? We talk about that. You cannot attain the fruit of the Spirit with your flesh. From a layman's angle, from a non-Christian, it simply means that you have to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined. So you have to be able to say, oh, where there seems hate, I want to love. It takes the extra work for you to love, So, but as a child of God, it is the fruit of the Spirit, because God does not expect you to be able to operate based on your flesh. He expects you to. So that was the topic of today. We talked about it. I referred to the training video of the girl that assaulted the lecturer, and I was asking them, what fruit of the Spirit do you think the girl lacked, and what fruit of the Spirit do you think if the girl had, she probably would have behaved differently. The lecturer was calm in the midst of it all. What fruit of the Spirit do you think the lecturer has? We're able to talk about all these things, and then went further to the Bible, read the Bible path, and they have an affirmation. They affirm themselves, and the idea of the affirmation is actually for them to say repeatedly over the course of the day, to be conscious of it. But they are going to school, of course. There is no time for them to even memorize the lines like that, But in all, it is always a very fantastic moment. It has become a bonding moment for us. I usually don't have, proud to now, I never used to have it every single day that I have time to talk to my children every single day. I talk to them very often. We take moments to just from random moment to talk, but there was no like every single day. Of course, in the Visionary Parent Academy, we have our bonding days, we have our pillow talk days and all of that. I utilize all that. But you see that every day where we come together to talk, sometimes even pray. We pray on the drive. Most times when we are going to school, that's when we pray, But because since the parenting on your knees, we started using it, we now have conversations every single day. They leave for school 7:10. So I make sure at most, it's not a long conversation. It's not a long one. At most 7 o'clock, everyone is done. We are seated and we have the conversation 10 minutes, and we say the prayers and we are good to go. Sometimes they finish super early, maybe 6:30, because the day like today now they finish super early because they only needed to boil spaghetti. We had stew, they boiled spaghetti. I was doing my exercise and all of that. At the end of the day, I think by 7:40 something, they were done. So it was a long time for us to talk, for them to play and all of that. So parenting on your knees is very impactful. Imagine it's 366 prayer points in it. So it simply means that it's going to cover almost every prayer point you may not have remembered to pray for your child. And as you are praying, you are sowing seeds, you're having conversations with them, is a very good one. Parenting on your knees. If you're in the Visionary Parent Academy, you are getting it. You're in the extra class that explains the prayer to you every day. But if you're not in the Visionary Parent Academy, you can just buy the prayer booklet. I think we are still selling for 3,000 naira, because it's supposed to be 5,000 naira. We're still selling for 3,000 naira. So you can just buy the book, the ebook for 3,000 naira. And we have the magazine, the Boss of Me magazine, for preteens and teens. It's all about self-leadership. One thing you will know as a parent is, if you're able to lead your child to raise your child to lead themselves, then a lot of the struggles we have will actually, be just gone. One of the reasons children struggle is because they are not able to lead themselves. If your child is able to lead himself, then you just realize that they are able to lead themselves, take responsibility for themselves, take ownership for themselves. You are going to retire early after enjoying your retirement benefits. So yes, the Boss of Me is a magazine that is partnering with you to help raise self-led children. And we have a lot of books. I think I have over 50 books so far. You can check my WhatsApp catalog, or you can check my seller group, the seller page. I have a lot of materials that you actually want to get to help you in your parenting journey. And a lot of them are actually free for the Visionary Parent Academy, for the visionary parents. So you want to join us, and you get some of our books for free. Thank you so much, everyone who joined me today. I appreciate you. What you can do further for us is to copy this link and share this link, so that we'll have more people join us in this community, and they will grow. While we are growing, we are making impacts. We want to make impact. We want to reach as many parents as we can, so that the world will be a better place. Thank you so much, and have a fantastic Wednesday.